Thank you for coming over to talk with us. We appreciate it. Just want to get a sense of what you talked about with the president today and your sense on the CR passing today.
Well, first I want to thank Senator Schumer. I say this gently. Chuck never makes the same mistake twice. Generally, he makes it 5 or 6 times just to make sure he got it right. But this time, he got it right on his first attempt. It makes no sense to shut down government. And I think Senator Schumer is going to release his people to vote for the CR that will come up probably sometime tonight. Now we'll turn to reconciliation. Reconciliation is another way of talking about high prices. In my opinion, one of the main things that moms and dads worry about when they lie down to sleep at night and can't is inflation, high prices. If we can get them down, we're going to have to do 3 things. Number 1, we're going to have to reduce government spending. We got those high prices through excess government spending by President Biden. We've got to reduce the spending corn, as I've called it, which is unduly stimulating the economy. Number 2, we've got to deregulate the economy. We've got to get rid of some of these rules and regulations. And number 3, this is the reconciliation part. We've got to rewrite America's tax code. We've got to redesign it so that it looks like somebody designed it on purpose. If we do those 3 things, I think we can generate growth of between 2.5% and 3%. And we'll not completely, it'll take a little while, but we'll start putting those high prices in the rearview mirror because they have been a cancer on the American dream. And I don't hate anybody. I certainly don't hate our former president. I say this with respect. Inflation was caused by one man, and that man's name is Joe Biden.
Senator, Elon wants to call federal judges rule against demonstration when it comes to terminated employees, saying that they should be impeached. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. The judiciary is an equal branch of government. It was designed to be part of our Madisonian system of checks and balances. You will never hear me say that someone should defy a federal court. That doesn't mean I agree with it. But if you respect our system of checks and balances, you should never defy a federal court. You can disagree with it. You can certainly appeal it. You can criticize it, but you can't ignore it. It's a recipe for chaos. For 4 years, I watched my Democratic colleagues undermine the integrity of the federal judiciary. I watched one of my colleagues stand on the steps of the United States Supreme Court and threaten Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch ruling on abortion. I've watched my colleagues introduce bills to pack the Supreme Court. I've watched some of my colleagues introduce bills. Some of them were in good faith, but some weren't, to try to write an ethics code for the Supreme Court, punish certain Supreme Court members if they disagree. All that undermines the federal judiciary. I believe in the rule of law, and I don't believe that any government official should defy federal judiciary.
Senator, we heard you on the inflation. Aren't you afraid that the tariffs are going to contribute to bring the inflation up?
Here's what I've learned in Washington. For every economist, there's an equal and opposite economist, and they're both oftentimes wrong. Economic forecasting is more hard than science. Nobody knows if tariffs are going to lead to inflation. Nobody knows the answer to that. President Trump, I will concede, is the first president in modern history to embrace tariffs so passionately. He did it in his first term. We didn't have inflation. He's clearly doing it in his second term right now. What leads to inflation? We just don't know. Here's what I'd like to see the president. Here's what I'd do if I were king for a day. I am not, and I don't aspire to be. But Prime Minister Carney in Canada says he believes in free trade. President Trump is interfering in free trade. I would turn to him and say, well, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm going to make you an offer. I'm going to reduce America's tariffs on Canada to zero. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. I expect Canada to do the same. And let the businesses in Canada and businesses in America compete without government, either the Canadian government or the American government, putting their thumb on the scale. Now, I'd put him to it. I'd just say, look, let's find out who's a free trader and who isn't. And I'd be interested to see what the new Prime Minister says. Look, I love the people of Canada. I want us to get this resolved. But President Trump makes a very valid point with respect to tariffs being inconsistent and uneven. Think of it this way. America has about 8 times more people than Canada. Our economy is 10 times bigger than the Canadian economy. Yet we're running a $60 billion trade deficit with Canada. Now what that tells me is that Canada's tariffs are higher than our tariffs. And all I think the president's asking is that they be even. I say let's make them even at zero. Maybe we'll start a trend.
Senator Kennedy, can I ask why you're at the White House today?
I'm here for a bill signing.
Oh, bill signing. I saw some other senators with you as well. What bill signing?
CRA, a regulation that I've knocked into a new zip code.
Senator, what do you have to say to some of those Democrats that are still saying no and are not agreeing with Senator Chuck Schumer's stance on the bill?
To my friends who don't want to vote for the bill, you know, that's their right. That's their right. Everybody sees the world from their own bell tower. When my Democratic colleagues and my Republican colleagues ask me how they ought to vote, I tell them how I'm going to vote. And if they ask me how they should vote, which happens on the day, and I tell them follow your heart, but take your brain with you. And this is one where it would just be, in my judgment, it would be bone deep down to the marrow stoop to shut government down. Nobody wins. It scares the hell out of our elderly. They think that their Social Security and their Medicare is going to be impacted. It isn't being shut down. But why go through that? Why put the American people through that? And again, I want to thank my friend Senator Schumer for doing this. And for seeing the light. Might make a republic out of it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, see you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Senator.